with very mirrored bans that we had in game number 2 from game number 1. I would be surprised to see too much of a mix-up here, but there are definitely a couple of things that should be addressed. You know, will the Skarner make it through once again? What about the Camille? Will Sion be picked in game 3?
I just don't think you double ban jungle on the red side. Otherwise, you get yourself in that same scenario of not really having much to face against a Skarner. And they will actually ban the Skarner this time. Maybe you leave open Zac and take a very strong invading jungle. That's an option. With Sejuani banned away as well. So already the jungle pool is losing a lot of the power picks, both Ambition and Umpty.
Well, they saw Grace's Azir in game 2, and they don't want to see it anymore against them, so they're going to go ahead and ban it. Was 2-4 before that last series, now sitting at 3-4, and another jungle ban in the Sejuani.
So Zac first pick is very unlikely from the side of KSV, and it's a champion that Umpty doesn't play, so could always be a first-time Zac, but seems unlikely. Jungle pool could be interesting here, unless we do just see kind of the second round of jungle picks with a lot of the meta choices banned away. See what KSV want to prize at first pick. Would just take the Tristana if they want it, and this would be a big reach. They do take Zac anyway. Very interesting to see them take it at first, but I feel like anything else would have been relatively more of a takeaway from Jin Air. But maybe it's just, we want Zac, we want more information about what you want to draft, and then we'll go from there. So very interesting to see KSV prize the Zac so high. On the Jin Air side, after letting it go through picks and bans in game 1, no funny business. It could also be a jungle Camille. So a flex pick Camille from the side of Jin Air.
Yeah, it's funny to see it go from unpicked in game 1 to eventually picked at the end in game 2 to first pick for Jin Air. Certainly has gone up the ladder, so I'm feeling pretty confident about that pick. And a third game of Tristana looks to be on the cards here for our buddy Teddy.
Varus banned away and Tristana taken away. That represents the dominant part of his champion pool. 21 games of the games that he's played. Only 12 games on none of those two champions. He just loves the Varus and the Tristana. But Xayah Rakan's going to be run a third game in a row. So I'm not going to say that was a big problem for them in game number 2. But the flex pick will be flex for a while. So mid lane in the first round and some mid lane bans can come out. Grace has been on the rise a few times this season. 3-2 overall. Can just ban away some of the problem picks into it. I wonder if they ban away Taliyah here. Is going to be a possibility.
Yeah, Crown looked pretty good with his full AP aggressive Taliyah build in game 1. The Weaver's walls on the blue side, if you get position on Baron, are really obnoxious to deal with. I wouldn't be surprised. They're going to ban out the Cassiopeia, one of the counters to Rise. First off,
I wonder if you ban Cassio Taliyah, would Crown give us our first patch 8.4 Malzahar? Was always a good matchup into the Rise. So outside chance we'll see it. I like the ban on the Thresh because the extra range champion was causing a lot of problems for the Xayah Rakan. Maybe you ban Leona as well, because Leona will almost certainly be picked up by Wraith with the Thresh banned away.
There it is. Taliyah going to be taken off the board.
So now it feels like Leona for Jin Air is going to be the desired support pick, and then the side of KSV, we're thinking about a draft into something like a Malzahar. See where the champion pulls out. Maybe it's time for another new pick or something like a Karma to play around the Xayah Rakan again. The Karma was very strong for the side of KSV in that KT series.
There is the guy we got to mention. Well, first of all, we are going to have the Alistar. It was actually banned second in the second ban phase. Doesn't follow the
Xayah Rakan as reliably. And they're going to actually hold on to support. Maybe a Wraith special at last pick, and it's going to be the confirmation that we will have a Jungle Camille. Umpty likes the invade. He's strong in his mechanics. So while Jungle Camille has kind of been there with Jungle Jax, bit of being on Struggle Street, they will be visiting it anyway. And the blind pick Gnar as a takeaway to QV.
This is what I wanted to mention. Will he jump onto the Vel'Koz again when you're in the face of another Camille and he decides, yeah, Camille wasn't the problem. It was just our position, so I'm going to play Vel'Koz again.
Can wave clear quickly, can potentially be out of threat range of the Rise and turn onto him. And with the Gnar being taken and the Camille also on the side of Jin Air, we'll see the gangplank. So scaling going to be coming through in multiple areas for KSV. So I think that can be taken advantage of, and we're waiting for the last pick to see what Jin Air wanted to visit.
He's smiling.
Long time since we've seen support Shen. might just be the Alistar anyway, and you see Vel'Koz and you want more engaged, so the Alistar makes even more sense. Can die fast the disintegration ray, and also all the true damage on the side of the Vel'Koz. It's going to be about a robust early to mid game, allowing QV to farm, and then you launch the Ambition into the back line. He tries to be peeled away at the same time Vel'Koz unloads his full rotation. So they're trying to have the fight happen away from the Vel'Koz, and to a large degree the Gangplank, whereas Jin Air, they're going to be aggressive, and Umti's jungling will be the thing I think is most interesting, try to make value out of just the long threat range of the Camille in the early game.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if it'll be just plain interesting or interesting. I don't want to pick on MT, but definitely didn't have a great game in game number 1. More of a composition issue, but definitely a lot of pressure on him to get in the face of Ambition and onto guys like Crown again when he's one of these more inconsistent guys. Let's see if he can help his team to a consistent 2-1. It's not easy up against KSV.
He's at least set up with a very clear identity. It's not like game 1 where Skarner kind of proved to be a bit of a bogey situation for him. He didn't really have much of a role in the Jax. This time, he has an invade advantage. He has a skirmishing advantage over the Zac early, and he also has good lanes to gate because he wants to kill Vel'Koz as many times as possible. Usually going to be someone with a big price on his head, and the Gangplank no different. So definitely some good options when it comes to Umti's ganking lanes, and there's also CC, instant in the mid lane and reliable in the bot lane. So let's see if Umti can make us a believer of the jungle Camille that's been up and down. It fits his champion pool. He is a mechanically gifted player. Let's see if he can pull it off.
Yep, undefeated so far, 2-0. Let's see if he can make it 3-0, jumping into game number 3 of KSV versus Jin Air. It's so interesting to see that even though, actually I'm going to hold my thought as Ruler might be in some trouble, trying to bait him in there, but Ruler messing up his ward and actually is forced to flash away from that. Wasn't sure what was on the other side. So, flash down already in the bottom lane.
I mean, the Alice is on the other side of the wall and flashes over, he's dead. So probably has to go for the defensive flash there. It's a happy thing for the Tristana and Alistar in the early game. I think you had a thought you wanted to complete.
Yeah, just, you know, KSV, even after winning the World Championship. Now, it is really late in Korea. Let me see what time it is right now. It's 11:15 p.m., so people have gone home. It's not as filled as before, but even down to the last of it, KSV, the former World Championship, but Jin Air having more fans cheering more loudly for them in the studio. What is that all about? Why is KSV struggling to garner the audience and gain some more fans?
I mean, it's always a tricky topic to have the exact kind of true answer to, but it's a couple of variables. The fans are largely a fan of exciting gameplay, you know, really aggressive gameplay, and that's not something that KSV provides, but you say, but they're world champions. The other thing that draws fans, I think, to the live audience is big personalities, and a lot of the KSV players are pretty understated, even if they have legendary players like Ambition. So I think when it comes to actually capturing the fans' imagination and actually drawing them live, KSV have struggled in a way that previous world champions have not. So the big personalities draw people to teams like Afrika, KT Rolster, SKT, and Kingzone especially. But when it comes to KSV, actually mobilizing that fan threat has proved tricky.
And we'll see if perhaps they can get some more fans in the future. Spoke about MT trying to be more proactive in the jungle here. You could see already Grace is on the same page, trying to get a deeper ward to spot out the Zac, who had already been farming quite nicely.
And also, should be mentioned the other variable that is very important in Korea is while they are world champions, they have never had any success in Korea. They've never been on a run. They've actually never won more than, I believe, a single playoff game, let alone any sort of inroads to finals. So fans want to see the success for their own eyes in front of them, and that just hasn't happened for the Samsung Galaxy squad as of 2015 onwards. And when it comes to the fan bases of Samsung Blue and White, they've of course gone on to teams like KT Rolster. So yeah, unfortunately, lack of success in Korea as well is not helping the matter either.
got some big trades in the mid lane. So far, it looks like the Rise will win those when everybody lands everything that they've got in their arsenal. At least early on in the game. Ambition coming in here trying to go for the Scuttle Crab, but he's got to be really careful as he's got a Camille on his back. Oh, he actually gets knocked down. He's going to be forced to flash. That's an interesting interaction, actually, with the Dragon.
You couldn't decide whether to put the emphasis on interesting or interaction, could you?
I know, it's just too much to handle, right? Too many ints in one sentence.
I hear you complain about that in your solo queue games, but weird to complain about that in commentary.
Yeah. It's been filling my mind up recently. But
one of those runs, Valdez?
Yeah, you know, I've been struggling a little bit. I've been trying to play other stuff that's not Talia every single game.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah. I played one of my first games of Camille Jungle in a while. I can confirm it did not go well. Definitely one of the higher skill kind of champions in the game, as I learned that day. Already knew it. But
you do all your discovery in ranked, of course.
Yeah, you know, I'm not a guy that I feel like you'll get the best practice of a real game in ranked. Definitely not. I don't know. I wouldn't follow that advice if you really highly care about your rank and you're trying not to lose any games.
Well, we'll see if we can sprinkle in some solo queue advice, because we're expecting this one to not necessarily be the high-pace game that we always crave here. We're spoiled by our first series, kill a minute in great swaths of Game 1 and Game 2 of Kingzone versus Rox Tigers. Here we've got the tiers being built by both the mid laners. The Gangplank goes for a GP10 item to start, so KSV slow and steady with a comp like this, and again we're looking at Basically when he's on the screen, surely that will be when the action starts.
Well, we did have Kive on the Gangplank picking up another Ancient Coin. No Relic Shield this time around. Looks like he's been favoring the other GP10 item.
Gives him the mana sustain. That's the big difference between the previous patch and this patch is you don't want to go Corrupting Potion to buy into a lot of regen early, and you pick up the mana stain on the minions you miss when you go for the Ancient Coin. So even that little bit of extra mana can be more parlays, and that was the big nerf that happened to Gangplank on this patch, is that pre-level 9, his lane control got a little bit more pricey. So I guess that's why we see the adjustment in the choice between the support items.
Ambition here, remember, still no flash. Ruler, he has gotten his back after the beginning of the game where he was forced to blow it. Seems to be some action up here as Ambition really wanted to take out that control ward. We saw earlier when he was playing the Skarner how he wanted to take the Spire. And taking a look at Velkhouse's runes here. Things seem pretty standard for 8.4. Takes the Scorch instead of the Gathering Storm and the Ultimate Hat.
Bit of lane control to keep Grace accountable. You worry that if Grace can walk up and clear the wave in the face of the Vel'Koz, that could cause problems when it comes to roaming. And Vel'Koz doesn't have the super fast clear until a couple more points into the W. Gathering Storm, we get the confirmation. There's going to be top laners and AD carries only.
Easy to remember as the game goes on. Bit of an engage here, but a headbutt away. Not expecting too much down here, perhaps before level 6, when, of course, Zyrakan can begin to make some plays. Oh, thinking about, oh, never mind.
You don't want to necessarily be the first to leave. You can see a bit of setup by around the Infernal, which is the first spawn, so if they can stay longer, perhaps they can steal one under the noses of Ruler and Core JJ. Top side's going about as standard as Nara versus Gangplank can be. Has been swinging more and more far towards the side of the Gangplank in recent patches, and it doesn't seem like the mana nerfs have changed anything.
Yeah. I mean, you just get a ridiculous amount of gold, so even if you get super far behind, which Kive is not even that super far behind at 8 minutes, you're just going to be ahead in gold because you're Gangplank. Klepto, Ancient Coin. It's pretty good. Perhaps those are the problems, Papa.
You think so? I think the support items are very, very strong. Oh, Ambition actually took the blue buff there with the red buff burn.
That's
not ideal.
It's really not good, especially for the Vel'Koz who wants to wave clear and didn't take mana flow band.
If you take Scorch and then you aren't able to scale up and then the Ryze gets blue buff, that's a big problem because he will get the lane control that you clearly were trying to deny with the Scorch.
Well, Umti's level 6, and generally you don't see too much action in the top side unless someone makes a mistake. Unless you got this double ultimate coming in eventually as he flashes away and missing the flash hook shot there was Umti, so it looked a lot worse than it actually was, and Kive does get away.
Yeah, very awkward to trade flashes does mean that his next engage is going to be less reliable. So I see the replay here. Gonna have to inspect the flash timing. Gets the information now that Umti is around. Very, very nice flash timing there.
Yeah.
0.25 seconds was enough to buy him. His life would have died otherwise. So slows down the Camille, and we know that Camille has a very expensive build going for the warrior into Trinity Force almost every time we see her. The struggle if you are not fast on those items is that you are insanely squishy in the mid game, and that seems to be the reality for Umti in this one unless things can turn around.
Well, we do have this first Infernal Drake. There's some vision there for Jin Air to make sure they know if anyone's going to take it so far. With Umti's flash down, they may consider making a play somewhere, but they would want to get a pick before they decide to go for the Infernal Drake, of course.
Watching here as Teddy and Wraith are spotted on a ward and have been for the last couple of times they've walked up and down. Vision battle continues. Unbeknownst to them, Umti is here, but he does show himself.
KSV, just everybody's sitting on wards, so nobody's going to take that step forward that gets you into range to be engaged upon.
Time you see someone walking up, there's this integration rate, just trying to chunk him out of lane. This could get them the Infernal, getting Grace below 50% health.
Yeah, it's definitely one way to do it. Generally, you use those abilities to go for kills, but in this case, it's just a good enough way to just zone him out and have him not get anywhere near. But they're just going to get the Scuttle Crab, return to lane, and continue farming, as is the way. Gets the slow here, and Grace is going to be careful.
I'm a big fan of using your ult for lane control when you have a scaling advantage, which I think that's what KSV comfortably have as the game goes on. Much more reliable for Zach to teamfight, and very, very self-explanatory with the Gangplank. So they've already been able to chunk out Ryze. They turn onto the Infernal. Going to be a very slow solo for Ambition.
Look at this, though. There's no vision, and they're just pretending that they're not doing it. Even if Jin Air did know, the recall from Grace and Umti actually at the same time means that the Infernal Drake will go over to Ambition and the side of KSV. Next Drake also going to be Infernal. Very important to mention, we could have double Infernal Vel'Koz. That's always fun.
It's a big problem for Jin Air to not be able to pick that up, given they were in a good position around the bot side. Scaling jungler, being able to pick up the objectives, the warrior jungle falling behind is something that needs to be arrested very soon. The second Infernal could actually be one of the big flare points of the game. With that being considered, Jin Air group up, they might clear out some wards, but yeah, it was just overwhelming vision from the side of KSV that made that play possible.
Yep. Good work once again from KSV and the crew. So we take a look at the gold. This is a GP that's nearly 30 creeps behind, but still is ahead. Just a small amount overall.
I feel that Grace is playing this lane pretty poorly, opting into pretty bad trades.
Oh, he's going to get slowed up here, and look at this. KSV's coming in, and there's going to be no cleanse onto him. There's going to be first blood onto Crown, just not respecting it, doesn't even flash away. Decided he was dead, and that was the end of it.
He's misplaying this Ryze lane pretty badly. He doesn't seem to have a lot of experience on Vel'Koz versus Ryze because your ranges are so easy for the Vel'Koz to take advantage of because you're opting into very obvious plays where you walk up to either wave or E the enemy champion, and at the same time you walk into the CC from Vel'Koz. The all-in is going to be more than a half health chunk and a great roam timing. See, Crown pretty hyped in the booth that this Vel'Koz game is going so much better. They get most of the mid lane turret down as well.
Looks like it was his call to actually get him in, and no knockout to MT as he does have the hook shot, but that's going to be the first blood turret given over to Crown and Ambition in the mid lane. The red buff from Ambition helping out so much there.
I mean, you're set up to win the 2v2 when you draft Rise and Camille going Warrior. So for them to lose mid lane turret, the first Infernal, it's an even bigger problem than it appears on paper, or what it would be in a more even scaling matchup. That was where they were supposed to be strong. That is where they fall behind. And now potentially the Vel'Koz can have the first roam to make some other plays in the side lane as well.
Yeah, Kibe, he's built that Trinity Force now, so even though he's being bullied, he knows in the back of his mind he's going to be just fine. Hanging out up top. You'll notice the 2 control wards were committed to. Now 3 control wards up in the top side towards the Rift Herald, but so far no ability to follow up on a dive on the top side. They never were able to put any more pressure in there, and it's going to be even harder giving up some map control in the mid lane as well.
And so this remind you why we don't see much of the jungle Camille. Feels like these Warrior Enchant junglers, once they've been around for a while and workshopped, just eventually get respected, and thus the engage range and the playmaking potential no longer becomes a big thing to play around. And now Ambition walks up, 5 points in the Elastic Slingshot. Crown roams down first because they already have the turret, and not a lot of good options for Jin Air apart from an all-in.
There's the engage as Raid. He baits it in. Crown getting low here is going to cleanse away, but he can't do his consistent damage. Now Ambition in a terrible spot here. So-On trying to get on in here. Ambition should get low and have his passive proc. Look at this, So-On, will he flash in? Looks like no, they'll just take the double kill and be done with it.
They seem to try to stand and deliver when Wraith had his combo available, so he just comboed the Vel'Koz, and he was able to do nothing in the fight. No Saracen Brace shield to turn it around. That was a bit of a head scratcher, and now suddenly a huge swing in the game for what seemed like a pretty unforced error by the side of KSV.
I think they didn't know they were on vision too. I mean, Ambition was standing literally on top of a ward, so Jin Air knew what they were dealing with, and they answered perfectly, so props to them. Ruler and JAG are going to be able to at least hold this turret, as Empty is not going to overcommit.
Wraith recalling on a ward. We'll clear that one out. Back away. No turret goes down. It just seemed like one of those inevitable plays that we saw again and again a year ago in spring 2017, where you just disengage the enemy bot lane and take the second turret. We're going to see the replay. Crown walks up, thinks he's fine, but as a ward goes down, instantly into the headbutt pulverized. So you're right, the vision game did end up trolling Ambition in that particular case, because just before the clip, a sweeper was used in that area, and they just didn't have an answer to the instant engage from Wraith. Clean on a champion he's actually shown a lot on multiple different teams. Always been a big Alistair player, even on his days on KSV. This is a bit of a grudge match for him, because it's the squad that he left in the off-season to join Jin Air GreenWings. Very, very nice engage. Crown goes down and suddenly control the game. Well, not necessarily in the hands of Jin Air. Definitely get more into their hands.
It certainly means that they can begin to chip away at this bot tier 1. They can gain a lot of vision in the river around side that Infernal Drake. If things were passive, or maybe even if that dive had worked, that would be all KSV's area to control, and perhaps would mean a second Infernal Drake. So ends up being the little things. They got to be careful. Empty coming from behind. JAG is going to be able to get back, but the Realm Warp coming in, will he actually take it? The answer in that case obviously is no.
From downtown, but a lot of ways to disengage as the Rakan. Infernal's definitely the prize they're focused on, Vald. As we mentioned that giving up 2 would be almost unacceptable given the comp they had drafted.
Oh boy, Crown in a lot of trouble here. He's all alone, and he just uses Flash. He's going to stand and deliver to Teddy. And Teddy's going to be really low, and the follow-up engage with Ruler having so much room is going to be enough. Perhaps this time around, Jin Air went a little bit too far. Featherstorm Flash, and that's going to do it. Double kill goes over to the side of Ruler.
Super aggressive. That will get them the Infernal as well. This time, Ruler was able to fight front to back. He did not have to deal with being exposed on the side of a fight. And even though it's one item on the Xayah, the damage was enough. Gets the bonus double kill, taking down Teddy, and that is 2 Infernals to the side of KSV.
Certainly sitting pretty, that third Ocean Drake. As the Drake, you'll notice they find Crown and they think, okay, we're going to knock him out, but Teddy gets super low. and now they're all alone in the jungle.
He stands and delivers, and Teddy, like you say, instantly out of the fight. Then it's Ruler free hitting on 2 people. Grace can't get in there. He doesn't have an angle, so not able to get any value out of their Rise at all. They already had a scouting trinket ward. But actually, it was just a prediction, and then here in the minimap, we're going again.
Yeah, look at this. Crown going to come up here. Grace gets low. Looking for that dive onto Kive. Looks like the turret did go down. But in the end, no one does die. It was a really nice engage, too, from Ambition from the Dragon Pit. Just having the wherewithal to say, hey, he's getting dived. I got to be there to engage and help out my team.
And you can see that Crown has been able to put out the most damage this game and is going the max damage, max AP route. Makes extra sense when you have the double Infernal, because the death cap will be already getting him to around 400 AP. How are they going to get some value out of the Rise? It's kind of the problem for Jinair. He already lost his turret first, which made his job harder. Hasn't been able to have any side lane impact as well. Actually getting value from the Rise is something that so far has eluded Jinair, and he's still in the mid lane with no turret behind him. So just ends up trading farm and has a 17 CS lead, but obviously not very relevant in how the game is being played.
Yeah, he's down in damage. His team is down in Drakes. Crown, at least they got his flash. That's about it. Perhaps they could get it again. Another kill onto Crown if they wanted to engage there, but it's too dangerous now. Ambition is getting more tanky. The entire bot lane's there, and it's Ambition that wants to engage as is just going on in, but he's going to be forced out. Now Wraith is eating that Ray in the front, and the rest of it going to go on to and he may survive on the backside of this, but again, another forced engage. It does not work.
It just seems too forced, like you say. They go in for the engage. Instantly realizes, hey, I'm not taking enough for this. Disengages his own Hextech ultimatum. They claim the blue buff, but a kill goes the way of KSV. They will take the bot lane turret as well, with Cuvée already there. Very, very strange, some of the engagements we've seen in this game, where they've actually worked against their team rather than for them. Will be death cap on the next back, probably now for Crown. Jina need to find a way to get proactivity. I've said it a couple of times, but just diving into the backline is not the answer. They need the Gnar and the Rise to find a way to actually help him. They haven't been able to do that, and thus it just seems uncoordinated when they make those aggressive plays.
Yeah. Seems like and Wraith are on the same page, and then Grace and so on are kind of off doing their own thing. I mean, twice in a row, and Wraith going on in, head first, directly into the jungle, directly onto the back line, but then, as you mentioned, just no help from anyone else. So overall, seems like a communication issue. Reminds me a bit of game 1 of going in on the Jackson, just looking silly, but a bit different, as at least he's got Wraith this time to help him with the follow-up.
3 kills, given that snowball rapid fire cannon to match Teddy's 2 items. CS lead also for Ruler, so he's gone better than expected. Here's a realm warp. They're committing to it.
And CoreJJ trying to back off here. They do have that Hextech ultimatum. Will they just use it onto CoreJJ? He's trying to get away. He uses his flash and will effectively disengage after all that.
He does have the unsealed spellbooks. Can teleport back in if anything is started. Doesn't seem like a Baron Force or anything like that. In the midst of all of this action, Cuvée has been off screen. Piling on items, now has the Youmuu's Ghost Blade. So he's obviously in a gold lead, probably about 1,500 gold, I would wager. He has the global gold, but may even be larger than that, such as Gangplank.
Yeah, I mean, he's just sitting on his dollars right now. Feeling pretty happy about it. In that last engage, the flash is burned by CoreJJ, but Grace burns both his Ghost and his flash, so they don't have those summoners available for their Rise, who, again, he can't do the combination with his Realm Warp and the Stopwatch anymore, so he's got to be careful, even more so about his positioning.
To me, it's all about the Realm Warp and actually getting value from it, because Realm Walk and Alistar next to Vel'Koz, and good things can happen for the side of Jinair. The Mega Gnar also situationally can be big. It's a team fight Gnar build, you'll notice, so isn't looking to bust the Gangplank in a side lane with a Phantom Dancer and a Play the Ruin King, going straight for the Randuin. So they need to be on the same page, something that has eluded them for the majority of this series when it comes to 5v5 engages, because they've already built for it as well. Gonna wait and track whether So1 can actually get that synergy going. Speaking of synergy,
another engage directly onto the back line, but Crown is able to flash out of it, and the disintegration ray is huge damage with the help of Ambition to line them all up. He may go down in the end, but both Ruler and Crown are healthy. The ultimate coming in from So1, and Ruler gets low. Now it's all about Crown, but the Rise is standing tall, and all of a sudden, this is turning around. Finally, QV makes his way in. Grace getting low as well as Teddy. The burn is going to get him, and Crown somehow lives to the end. A double kill over to the side of QV, who was a little bit later, but eventually got there.
But the point is, Valdez, it was a 4v5 for almost the entire time. QV gets there just to parlay the Tristana in the face. That's why they start this. They realize they have the time to engage and the teleport advantage, but it goes basically even because Crown gets a huge disintegration ray. Over time takes down 2, and from there, we've got a numbers disadvantage, but they're fighting together. The Gnar ultimate able to get the CC onto Ruler, who eventually dies. Ruler cleanses the CC. QV gets there to finally clean it up.
Seraph's is so good, man.
It's pretty strong.
There's a reason why everybody builds that in the mid lane nowadays. Saves him right at the end with that big shield.
And now he's got his trusty stopwatch that he's always picking up in the mid game.
Not the only one who did. Actually, MT had it in that last fight, did burn it. As, 600 gold taken away from trying to go towards that Trinity Force. Did it help in the end? Hard to say. Ocean Drake looking to be easily picked up now by KSV, who, after that last fight, have massive control of the game.
So difficult. If you ask me what the ideal play is for Jennera, that's a third Infernal on the way. We could see some crazy AP values in this game, with Archangels also as a one item, providing more AP than ever before. You need a gank rush, which is so hard to do 25 minutes in, but finding a way to use the Rise and Camille synergy, or Camille in the bot lane, because those things never happened, they've really been unable to take advantage of a DPS jungler, and it's Trinity Force at 30 minutes. It's kind of where he's going to be getting to. So now KSV feels strong enough to walk up. They have many exit plans for the Rakan and also the Zac when they check Brush. And Zac's done more damage than the full damage Camille. That tells you the story you need to know.
Zac consistently getting on top of many of them. Let's bouncing 3 of them last time. It's hard to say whether it would have been better to just let's bounce them in place rather than bounce them away from the disintegration ray. Probably better with the first situation.
On the one hand, when you think about it as Ambition, you're disengaging them from Crown, but like you say, and the result, the little wombo of the double R would have knocked them basically slightly to the side, but close enough to a knock-up. The disintegration rate would have got more ticks on. It's a side lane.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's the one with TP, and so he's being engaged upon the Realm Warp, gets him out. And QV will win the trade. Disgrace didn't see him coming around the corner, nearly gets taken out.
His item build is just the bare bones item build. Certainly no armor going to be itemized here, so he finds it very hard to lane against the Gangplank. No big surprise there. He's going to work towards Merlinomicon for some heal reducing, which is of course very strong against Gangplank Zac. When it comes to all the different amounts of self-healing. QV's going to stay here.
Well, hello, says QV once again. I'm back. The greatest enemy sitting on 3 items now. Steric's finished.
Need to push through the mid lane and make Umti show up and no longer be a flanking threat. How it rolls down, suddenly a 6,000 gold lead for KSV. 3 items onto the Xayah, answered by 3 items onto Teddy, but the difference between Zac and Camille on these fights, I think, is going to be pretty clear. That means a lot more safety for Xayah to do damage compared to the Tristana.
Some decent vision ahead, but they're looking actually for the engage. It does miss onto Umti, so a couple of things going wide for our Rakan player. Means that they will be down for just a bit here.
Longest cooldowns, but like you say, some important ones to allow Umti to continue to saunter. He needs that Trinity Force and also a Steric's Gauge and maybe a Giant Spell pretty soon. And the fact that I had to list so many things was a problem.
end pretty soon as well at the end of
Yeah.
that. We'll see.
Grace does finally find some success in the split push. After being thwarted by the gangplank the last few times, lane assignments have changed.
There's really not that much magic resist on the side of Jin Air. They're desperately trying to get other necessary items first. Really only the Gnar just a bit. I mean, a lot of members are building the Merc Treads, of course, but
there's so much more damage on the side of KSV as well. It's a big problem they have to deal with. Physical and magic damage, and even true damage popping through from the Vel'Koz passive. So there's more threats. The tankiness is mostly just born by ambition, but the space created by the Gangplank ult is always this weird thing to talk about when it comes to tankiness, but if it's an area the enemy can't go, the zone's controlled by both the Let's Bounce, the Disintegration Ray, and the Gangplank ultimate make the team inherently more tanky because you can't just ignore the damage and walk up. That's a pretty big thing for Jin Air to have to respect, so it's full tank from So1 basically after the Black Cleaver. He'll find it very hard to find any pressure in the side lane, which again says the perfect Realm Warp, the perfect ult from Camille. Otherwise, 9 times out of 10, KSV will win a team fight.
Vision actually eating some damage, but oh boy. Grace on his lonesome here. Can you Realm Warp out of this one? That's the real question. Doesn't look good. He's going to actually commit to the flash, and, well, desperation at that point, as you were never getting away from that one.
Really poor map awareness as well. They didn't have any vision to make a play like that. They could not see through the river. It just dies for free. Grace not having a fantastic series. Maybe we'll see Justice next time. But we'll see what this means for Baron. They have great Baron damage to KSV. Don't have the requisite vision and usually are risk averse. In the side lane.
Yeah, Kive is just having his way with So1 right now. It's very one-sided, and Crowny's still waiting on a back. He has so much gold. I mean, the last time we saw him buy was when he got that stopwatch after the death cap. So that was about, I don't know, 4 minutes ago? Maybe all the other members went back, but not him.
Maybe a straight Void Staff when he sees Locket along with the other magic resist items. You're right, it must be over 2,000 gold at this point in the game. Hasn't needed shop though. KSV, the final piece of the puzzle is the Baron. That's the last thing for them to claim to really break the base and take over the game, because I feel like Gangplank's already taken over the side lane. Camille finally has Trinity Force, but will die in a couple of rounds of auto attacks from Ruler, you would imagine.
How about a third Infernal Drake? How does that make you feel, KSV?
Makes Crown feel pretty good, sitting at 462 AP while he holds on to, no doubt, the most gold possible. Will it be Zonia or Void Staff?
Let's see, what's it gonna be?
It's gonna be a straight up item, that's for sure. It's the Void Staff.
Yeah. And 3 control wards. Ever the team player, as you have to be if you actually want to win in the LCK. So, whatever magic resist they did have and the new magic resist they built is certainly going to be less effective after that item. That gank push you were talking about, Ruler just barely having the wherewithal to say, hey, they might be in there. So nice catch. Ambition threatening on the right side here.
Threat all over the place. Always a chance of being flanked. They need a plan where both Ruler and Crown are zoned out of doing damage, preferably from death, but you understand what I'm trying to say, because both of them have hit item breakpoints you dream of with the third Infernal. Remember that through all of this, it's Gathering Storm and a damage amp on the Zeke's Convergence, so Ruler's ready to go.
We'll just wait for that Elder. That's when things are going to get really fun.
Second Elder, baby.
Yeah, for the triple Infernal. Everything built for the Xayah composition.
48% AD and AP. Sounds pretty good to me. Always a chance with KSV that the game does extend that long, but seems like with their power level right now, taking fights is almost always going to be a winning proposition.
Yeah, they're just so respectful around that Baron. You know, they're never going to take a big chance. KSV has always been a risk-averse team when they're ahead. They're good at delaying when they're behind, and when they're ahead, they delay through just playing it as safe as possible, giving the enemy team no chance at a steal.
Having an extended run in the team with Ambition may not have increased their average pace in the early game, but it's definitely cleaned up their early game. When they were switching between Ambition and Haro, there were a lot of mistakes. Here's the emergency engage we spoke of.
Ruler just nearly one-shots him. He's like, okay, if you really want to fight, I guess we can.
If he ulted in a different direction, probably would have killed him.
You know? Now Cube is just laughing in the face of Teddy. Not scared of anything. Okay, here we go. The Baron is going to be started in MT. See you later. Runs straight into it. He's going to be knocked up. No QSS, no room for that. No, just no gold. And that's going to be the Baron easily taken here for KSV.
Jin just haven't played to their draft, and KSV have. They've also inched forward again and again. The 3 Infernals with the scaling comp. is, just like the Jax game, a non-factor. Grace and his play this game has to be criticized as well because they got no value out of Realm Warp, and he's been out of position both on ganks and gank assists multiple times, and you make those mistakes against the world champions, you lose, Valdez. So there's the Baron. The Bannon is ready to go. We'll call this one Samsung. As they push through the mid lane.
Yeah, you know, to get memories past for more to come. Wonder if they can win on this one push. With triple Infernal and 3 minutes of Baron, that's definitely a possibility.
Can't let Samsung hit the turrets, Valdez.
Well, they don't really have an option here, as here we go. Siege tank getting to work. 1 by 1. There's just no way you can get in there. The zoning is way too good. 1 boomerang at a time is just never going to be enough. And down it goes. First inhibitor of the game, or first inhibitor turret into the inhibitor. As Ruler moves forward and helps out Samsung to take that one down.
Well done, Samsung. You did your thing. As they push forward, waiting on the Samsung Galaxy skins, by the way. There was some artwork for it. But the actual skin's coming soon, I'm sure. As the barrels are getting a little bit out of order with the Infinity Edge being complete.
Well, 12,000 gold ahead and 3 Infernals.
554 AD. Remember the amp.
He's just raying them in the front. He just doesn't care. Zoan getting extremely low. Ambition doing his job, kidnapping Zoan in, saying, I'm going to get at least one person in the end. The second inhibitor will go down as KSV push to end the game.
They're going to push up. Need a minion wave to actually crash. For now, though, walking around, tutorials, usually how KSV approaches these games. A minute 10 till the Elder. They just want to have some bigger numbers. It's 559 AD.
Really?
Coming through.
Really? Okay, MT. He's going to go in and decide to die here. Wraith might be the next one to go down, and there it is, a double kill. You're not going to have to go for the Elder or the tutorial. They say, thank you very much. I guess we'll end the game now. The flash is forward. Teddy going to have some heads knocked together as Grace will eventually go down. The Realm Warp not going to help him again. Kind of in the theme here. Another ray in the face as Teddy nearly goes down. Will they actually get the kill in the end? That's the real question. One shot in the face is not enough, but that's going to do it. The Nexus goes down, and KSV take the victory.
3 very one-sided games on blue side in a row. KSV start the series on blue side, end the series on blue side, and largely end the hopes of Jin Air when it comes to qualifying for the top 5. Their schedule after KSV is Afrika, Kingzone, and Rocks. Very hard to see them winning more than one of those games, and it's not enough, Valdez, if they win a single. So mathematically, they're still there. But Jin Air GreenWings fall. They had won, it would have been another dagger in the heart of the SKT fans. But SKT see both of their competitors for top 5 lose on the same day. KSV now basically penciled in for 4th place after being a couple of matches ahead. It's all about 5th spot, and someone needs to actually walk up and win it, because right now all the teams are struggling.
Crown on the Vel'Koz. He's looked more emotive than I've ever really seen him here in the Nexon Arena. Very happy after that win, as I think Jin Air is beginning to face the music too. Taking a loss to KSV, that might have been one of their easier matches, as you mentioned, with their super hard schedule coming up next. But everybody on the side of KSV very happy, as they also know the reality of the situation. Their playoff run is definitely going to be much more granted. So watch this. MT says, hey, would you like a kill?
He dies just the most fast, and That means the 5v4 against stacks of AD and AB, the fat stacks for the side of KSV. Some World Championship gold being put to full display, and they can't kill quite everyone. Sadly, Teddy will live from a KSV perspective, but Grace, he had a health bar for a moment there. He no longer did, and KSV do actually continue. It's 3 series victories in a row for KSV after that embarrassing defeat to MVP, what seems like it ages ago, about 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, we said it after that cast. It was here. They took the first game and then lost the next 2, where it was really a eye-opener for KSV, not just for the fans who found it embarrassing, but for them to say, wow, we actually lost MVP. We're the world champions. How is this happening? So it looks like they've really sat back, looked at what they're strong at, and they've returned to that very strong macro clean style that we love out of KSV.
I mean, the decision-making in the early game was passive, but that puck can be excused if it's on point, and it's been on point in the last couple of series. But previously, it was passive, and they seemed to just be at the whim of the enemy team when it came to what their rotations were, where they were playing around the map. They were trading down and giving away free objectives. That is not the KSV we've seen. Now reinforced with Ambition as the true starter. They've been cleaner. They have a lot to be happy about. And KSV, you know, we said one of the big stories of 2018 would be, can the world champions back it up with a victory in the LCK? It started good, it fell away, and it's looking stronger and stronger. Will it hold up to the top teams in the league? That's a question that still needs to be decided.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask me right now, I think the top 3 teams are certainly heads above everyone else. I think there's a lot of proving for guys like KSV, SKT to say, but yeah, Crown picking up the MVP, 2-2-9 was essentially the assist Vel'Koz, as certainly Gangplank and Zio were doing tons of damage.
He played the game really well, and Vel'Koz pocket pick that raised a lot of questions now that he's played into Ryze and the Azir. So the Galio game didn't work, but there's 2 big meta picks that they're happy to pick the Vel'Koz into. And something extra to respect, and this wasn't enough engage, and going a Warrior Enchant jungler wasn't enough to actually trivialize Vel'Koz's impact on the game.
Yeah, so Crown, whenever he gets to play the Vel'Koz and he wins, he always looks really, really happy. So it's good to see a happy Crown. It's much better than the depressed Crown we see from time to time. Either way, guys, we're going to jump over to the interview. I'll hand you over to Ji-sun for the translation.
이 KSV가 9승을 찍어내며 포스트 시즌 진출 안정권을 들게 됐는데요. 이렇게 크게 한숨 돌릴 수 있었던 건 바로 이 2 선수 때문이겠죠. 코어 장전 선수 그리고 크라운 선수의 인터뷰가 준비가 되어 있습니다. 함께 만나보시죠.
So it was a 2-1 victory on the side of KSV. And we're going to hear from the MVPs. Congratulations on the win. So you guys did have a rough time. How was today's match? Well, I'm a little bit exhausted ending the game near 12 o'clock, but it couldn't be worse if you lost out. What about you, Crown? Well, it was a very interesting game. Well, yeah, it was a little bit exhausting since it was a very long game. But I think we figured out which points of the mistake that we should repair on. So, moving on to the games. The game 1. You guys played Zaya and Rakan. I thought maybe like people were joking about maybe it's a sellout of their skins. So, are you satisfied with your play today? Well, after the pick and bans, I just realized, oh, it's our skin, and Nar and Talia. Yeah, so I just told my teammates to let's be a little bit more confident since we're playing with the champions that we own the skins. And Core JJ, you're very well known for being so gentle to your players. Is that true?
이미지 관리죠.
Well, I think he's like faking it.
되게 재밌고
Well, in person, he's really bright and really funny.
최대한 밝으려고 하고
Yeah, the good thing is that he always maintains his bright side even though we're having hard times.
어떻게 생각하세요?
네, 뭐. 고맙네요.
I want to
칭찬받는 거
thank
되게
you, Crown, for saying something good about me.
오늘 몇 개의 경기에서 사실 그 작한 뭐 자야라칸을 풀리면 완전 오피다 뭐 이런 얘기를
Well, some people are saying that Zaya and Rakans are the S tiers in bot lane.
호정전 선수가 생각하는 그 조합에 대한 평가
And
어떻습니까?
how do you rate them?
제가 생각에 일단 자야락한 조합 자체가 일단 너무 좋아서
I think Zaya and Rakan comp is really good,
대처가 안 될 정도의
but it's not like overpowered.
근데 일단은 워낙 살상력이 너무 뛰어나다 보니까
Well, but it's true that it's really easy to make kills with Zaya and Rakan.
완전 대처가 되지는 않습니다만 가지고 있는 그 파괴력이 확실히 좀 있으니까 그 부분에 대한 장면들 좀 기대해 보다라는 말씀이셨는데 과연 1세트 어떤 장면이 있는지 하이라이트
And let's check out some highlights from the game 1.
상황 보죠. 자, 지금 이 상황에서는 일단은 여기서 엄티가 들어오려면
So Umti was trying to get down Zaya over there, but it was a super play from you.
다급해가지고 들어올 게 뻔하기 때문에 저희
I knew they were gonna make such a play, so yeah, I just focused on defending our players.
쓸면서 상대편을 좀 압박하는 그런 장면까지 연결이 됐었는데 사실 1세트에는 서로 간에 서로를 좀 도와주는 그런 장면들이 굉장히 인상 깊었어요.
So there were a lot of backup plays between the KSB players.
까지 나왔지만 되게
Yeah, we did make some mistakes, but
할 때도 있었지만 조금씩
well, I think
함께하는
we did bring it as a whole team.
어떻게 보면은 깔끔했던
So maybe I can say it was a clean game.
생겼는지 모르겠는데 그러다가 블루 파밍하다가 중간중간에 약간의 미스였나요?
Well, I did see a mistake in the games. Well, Ambition took the blue, right?
를 먹고 뭐 미드로 빨리 복귀해야 되는 상황이라 좀
Well, I was in a hurry, so yeah, that was a mistake on my side.
못 먹고 그냥 찬용이 형 파밍 더 해라 하고 그냥 줬으니까.
그래서 그런지 앰비션 선수가 갑자기 더 크게 자라나가지고
I think that helped Ambition to scale and carry the game in the late games.
세 번째 세트 넘어갈 때 어떤 점을 중점적으로 좀 필요가 했어요? 호장전.
Then what kind of feedbacks did you guys give to each other coming into the next game?
저희가 게임 흐름이 나쁘지 않았다고
Well, I think the game 2 wasn't really that bad,
실수들을 많이
but I think we made some really critical mistakes. So
다시
just to make sure that we're not gonna replicate those mistakes and repair on those mistakes.
약간의 그 자연의 현상 같은 걸 느낄 수 있었어요. 바람이 돌을 깎아나가는 그런 과정이라든지 천천히 상대편을 잠식해나가는 그런 과정들을 봤었는데 크라운 선수는 그
Crown.
느낌을 받으면서 경기를 펼쳤어요? 어땠어요?
Well, then how was the game 3?
조금씩 이제 한돌 바둑 두듯이 천천히
Yeah, I think we focused on the macros a little bit more.
명언 제조기로도 또 유명하잖아요. 예전에 이런 얘기 있었죠?
And Crown,
크라운의 명언.
back in the days you said,
있어서
well, Typhoons are lucky so that because they have a path to go.
이 명언 한번 스쳐 지나갔나 보네. 최근에
아니요 전혀 내 기억이
Well, I don't really remember saying that.
조사했는데 누가 조사한 거야? 이런 얘기는 들은 적이 없어요?
잘 모르겠습니다.
아니 일단 알겠어요.
That's not in my memory currently.
호장전 선수에 대한 질문 중에 하나가 챔피언에 대한 내용들이 또 나왔더라고요.
And Core JJ, we have a question for you.
티어 솔로 랭크에서 종종 등장한다. 이러면서 가능성이 있는 게 아닌가?
So is Zara a good champion currently?
그 종종 중에 제가 들어가는 것 같은데
Well, I do enjoy playing it in the solo queue.
많은 분들이 자이라로 이제 뭐 점수를 높이 올리는 분도 있고 쓸만한가? 쓸만하면은 내가
I
빨리
think
해봐야지.
it's
게임 해봤는데
worth to try playing it in the solo queue, but it hasn't been a while that I played it.
좀더 연구는 해볼
So I think it's worth to try experiments on it.
진간만큼이나 앞으로의 그 행보도 좀 기대가 되는 그런 이야기였는데요. 크라운 선수는 자신의 MVP를 받았던 그 경기 내에서 어떤 장면이 가장 떠올라요?
Then what are the favorite parts on the game 3?
제가 실수한 장면 바텀 1차로 이제 내려갔는데
Well, when we were pushing through the bot lane,
지민이 이제
I made a mistake over there.
지민이 잡아시
I made a shot call to get Wraith down.
그거를 하이라이트에 우리가 넣으면 우리는 크게 혼나겠죠. 그래서 다른 걸 넣었어요.
So then let's check out the clip.
여기서 전투에서 일렬로 막 뒤를 꽂아 넣는 장면이 나거든요.
Great damage from you, Crown.
여기서 어떤 골이 나왔나요?
이때는 뭐 되게 다급해서 전부 다 일단은 확실하게 포커싱을
Everyone was
했었던 거.
was in a rush, so yeah, it was hard for me to concentrate in the games.
포인트를 한번 만들어냈다는 얘기인데 오늘 워낙 좋은 경기들을 많이 만들어내면서 이 두 선수가 MVP를 차지했습니다만 사실
And actually,
저희가
last time, we sometimes give away presents to the players during the interview, right?
하루 선수를 잠깐
And last time we prepared something for Haru, actually.
네, 사실 왜 모셨냐면 제가 지난번에 왔을 때 너무 좋은 장면들을 많이 보여줘가지고 우리가 또.
But last time I saw you showing great performance, so we prepared a gift for you.
3월 4일 막 예상하긴 했는데 개인 방송에서도
Yeah, I was actually expecting for it,
좋네요.
so I'm really happy that I can get it today.
저희가
So this is his favorite animation character, Japanese animation character.
다른 의도가 아니라는 점 말씀드리겠습니다. 눈만 살짝 가렸어요. 그러니까 저희가 항상 선수들이 열심히 노력할 때마다 그 선수들.
Whenever we see our players performing so well, we're just trying to give them some celebration with gifts. Thank you so much. And she is my favorite character.
너무 사랑스럽다는 그런 얘기 하루 선수에게 있는데요. 앞으로도 이제 하루 선수에 대한 기대치가 계속 있을 텐데 어떻습니까?
Well, fans are expecting a lot from you. Any message for them?
준비는 열심히 하고 있어서
I'm prepping really hard.
나가게 된다면 좋은 경기 보여드리겠습니다.
So if I can make it in the games, I promise to show great performance for my fans.
코어장은 혹시 원하시는 게 있으면.
Core JJ, is there anything specific that you want for your interview?
있어요. 지금 딱히 생각나는 게
Well,
없는데.
actually, I have nothing in my mind. Thank you.
크라운 선수는요?
What about you, Crown?
4월 14일 결승전 VIP석 한 10자리 20자리
Well, I want tickets for the finals
결승을
of the spring split,
갈 거예요.
결승 확실히 가겠다는
which means I'm gonna make it to the finals.
사실 티켓이 필요하면 내가 너 진짜 갈 건데 그 티켓을 달라는 이거 굉장히 괜찮네. VIP 자리.
So make sure to get me the tickets for the finals.
한번 준비를 해보도록 하겠습니다. 네, 고맙습니다. 자, 그래서 오늘 MVP를 찾은 그 두 명의 선수 그리고 하루 선수와 좀 얘기를 나눠봤는데요.
So we had a really nice talk with Haru and the MVPs of the series.
펼쳐지는 뭐 여러 가지 경기를 좀 기다리고 있는 상황이 되겠습니다. 다음 경기를 준비하는 그런 마음 자세 한 말씀 좀 부탁드립니다.
Any last message?
SKT와 이제 경기가 기다리고 있는데.
Your next opponent will be SK Telecom.
이제 SKT랑 이제 마지막으로 플레이오프 경쟁권 팀이기 때문에
Yeah, we're gonna have a battle on the playoffs, so we're gonna prepare really hard.
저희 목표는 플레이오프에 가서 되게 잘하고 싶은데
And our goal is to perform well in the playoffs, so
경기를 다 잘 풀어내야
we're gonna make sure to win every matches before the playoffs.
지금 화이트데이입니다. 화이트데이 3월 14일이었습니다.
So it is White Day, the special romantic day in Korea. Is there anything you want to say?
1라운드에 졌으니까 2라운드에 복수하려고
Well, we did lose out against SK Telecom last time, so we're gonna make a revenge on them.
결승전을 향한 길 잘 닦아나겠다는 이제 크라운 선수까지 이야기 들어봤습니다. 자, KSV 연승 하나 더 늘어났습니다.
So KSV adding another win for their consecutive victories, and that will conclude today's series. And this will be the end of the interview, so I will hand it back to our casters. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. Nice little gift that Haru was given there. They wanted to give it to him last time, but they decided tonight was the night.
Well, there's a will, there's a way, apparently, Valdez, when it comes to the gifts.
Seemed like he was really happy with that one, Papa.
Well, he's not going to get to play anytime soon, as the team with ambition has really squared up the last couple of games, and those substitute junglers being rolling out. This one was a lot about scaling. Very nice kill on to Teddy there. But 3 Infernals, the scaling, the items being hit very early, ended up being pretty trivial. And Jinair's comps, I feel like in Game 1 and Game 3, they locked in 5 champions that had options, but didn't really explore those options very smartly and ended up being just too easy for KSV to macro them to death, I guess is what you would say. It's integration Ray, some anti-synergy, but 2 people fall, so still plenty of value there, and KSV deserving winners. We mentioned already that Jinair, match-wise, are at the same point as SKT, but schedule-wise, things get very tricky for them after today. We will see KSV versus SKT, so maybe KSV can do Jinair a favor, but given SKT's other opponents, it may not be the actual consideration, and it does feel like Jinair are going to be in that conundrum of being above the relegation, but just too far short of the playoffs.
Yeah, just a couple of clean games here from KSV. This was the funniest part of the night. 1-2.
And dead.
That's all you need.
Apparently 2 autos is more strongly enemy jungle. That's a problem.
Yeah.
There were a few, but the end result, it was KSV versus Jin in terms of game score. Nothing going inordinately long, but it did kind of plod along in game 3. It felt like we knew the victor very early in the game.
Yeah, says at the top they destroyed the Gangnam Stadium jinx. And, well, I mean, they put a dent in it at least. They're sitting at 3-5 now at Gangnam and 6-1 over in Sangam. So, overall, feeling a little bit better after today. As we all mentioned, it's really about the playoffs, and they're in a bit more of a safe spot, as you guys can see right here.
So with 3 matches to play, KSV is 2 matches ahead of Rox, or SKT if SKT goes ahead of Rox. And while that doesn't mean mathematical security, it's pretty close, Valdez. It seems like KSV are likely to pick up at least a single match win. SKT Rox Kingzone is not the easiest schedule ever, but if they hit 10 wins, they're in. At 9 wins, they're probably still in. So it's really about 5th spot, as Rox Tigers and SKT, they're probably in the biggest position to compete for that spot. SKT on schedule have the advantage. There's a lot to talk about. It's still going to be a very fun run-in before everything's decided. And Afrika and KT in that very close battle for skipping a best-of-5 as they want to hit 2nd spot and really only have the finals to look forward to.
You never want to give yourself a chance to disappoint early on in the playoffs. You want to be able to just go one step and then directly into the finals, as the gauntlet system we always talk about is super important here in Korea. So let's take a look at the schedule. This is the beginning of week 8. Let's see what else we have on the cards.
So SKT's matches this week, BBQ and KSV. Fans will be hoping that it's an easy victory tomorrow. We have a great show match, though, potential preview of our LCK Grand Final as Kingzone Dragon X take on KT Rolster. And Jin's hopes of making playoffs could be extinguished in our first game that day. That is on Thursday as they take on the Afrika Freaks.
Yeah, I think Kingzone tonight, they showed a little bit of weakness.
Yeah.
A very small amount, I'd say. You know, I'm not sure if they fully took Rox 100% seriously, but after a bit of a scare like that, and then you're going into KT Rolster, they